Okay guys, I'm going to see if I can break down DMX for you. So I've got two pars, because that's all we need. This is one. Yep, that's one. And this is two. It's two. And like I said, I'm gonna show you how programming DMX works, because that's how I was able to do 8 faders and 8 faders, and now we're just at 4 and 4. I'm going to show you how I did that, because that's something that lighting technicians excel in, and really they're supposed to be better at it than designers. So we got to get that out of the way. Oh my, there's something in my throat. Excuse me a moment. We're back. Now look, before we get started, you need to make sure you're in a place where you're not going to be easily distracted, because you really need to focus on this. Also, you need to watch this more than once, at least 3 times, in order to grasp it. I'm going to have each of you program the lights, and so you got to just know how to do that. And I'm not in the mood for a lot of that eye rolling. Okay? So, first things first, we have to talk about DMX addressing and DMX channeling. What's the difference? What do they do? Well, one depends on the other, okay? Your DMX address depends on the channel you're using for your light. And now I will show you an example. I'm going to look at the PAR instruction manual, user instructions, and I'm going to show you. So you see, it says 8 Dmx channel modes. There's 8 modes, right? There's a 1 channel mode, a 2 channel mode, a 3 channel mode, a 4 channel mode, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, for the record, it just so happens this goes in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not all lights do that. Not all lights go in order and have the same amount of channels. For instance, even this, the Mega Flash strobe only has it's a 2 channel light, I believe. And I will show you the page. Yes, it's only 2 channel light. This means that it's only 1 channel mode, and that channel mode is 2 channel mode. Do you understand? Let's go back to the pars. Once you understand how this works, dealing with those lights are going to be that much more simple. This is the first channel. This is 1 channel mode. This is the second channel. This is 2 channel mode. This is the third. This is 3. But again, not all lights do that. For instance, the Chauvet Freedom Pars, they have 4 modes. There's a 4 channel mode, a 6 channel mode, a 10 channel mode, actually just 3. So yeah, it's a 4, a 6, and a 10. But it's 3 channel, there's 3 channel modes. So when you're programming these lights, you have to make sure you have to determine what channel you want your lights to be. What channel mode do you want them to be? right now we're in 4-channel mode, which means we just have the 4. So let's look at what does the book say when you put in 4-channel mode. So in that 4-channel mode, each channel has a different function. 5-channel mode, each has a different function. 6, each has a different function, and so on. So in 4-channel mode, we have our 4 colors, which is what are programmed here. So we already know this. When we did 8, we had all of this going on. This is 8-channel mode, and each fader had a value. You could do some strobing, sound active, programming the changes and the fades and all of that, and then a general color change or color fade depending on what and sound active. You just know this is that's the book, right? So all right, let's look at the pars. So let's look at this first one, and hold on just a moment here. Meanwhile, while we're waiting, the address, when you're addressing a fixture, you use the address in order by, oh, you know what, it's better if I show you. This is going to be the hardest part, explaining it, how addressing works by the channel. Just give me a moment here. All right, look. Jesus. When you got your par and you want to change the mode, the DMX addressing, you get mode till you get to there, right? But let's say you're somewhere else. All right, so you're here, you tap, uh-oh, you guys, there we go. All right, so now we're in DMX mode, right? You want to change your address, that's the address. If you want to change the channel, that's the channel. So like I said, we're in channel 4, the 4-channel mode. Don't worry about that, that's nothing. Anyway, so you got your address, and it's at 1. Now let's look at this one. So we're in DMX mode. You see that says 5. Easily you can see that, maybe you can figure it out, but let me just spell it out for you in case you don't. The address, like I said, one thing determines another thing. In the DMX world, they call it the Dmx Universe. There are 512 available channels. Okay? 512. I don't know why it's that number. It's a really weird number, but it's 512. And so you, in one universe, you can control, technically, if every single light were in 1-channel mode, you can control 512 lights in one universe from one controller, if that controller allows it. Some controllers don't have that capability or feature, capacity. Anyway, you have a situation here where we control our lights, and we don't need all those channels. So you got channels. Okay? Now these are 16 faders, and these 16 faders can each be viewed as a channel. Okay? And within those channels, there's a starting point. So as you notice on here, it said 1, right? And over there it says 5, correct? And when you're addressing lights, based on the channels that you're using, That's how far apart the addressing is. So we're in 4 channels, so that's why they're 4 apart. Now look at it like this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got it? So if you wanted to, like for instance, we'll leave that at 1, but maybe we want this light to be 6 channel mode. So we press set up again the channel, up at the 6, okay? But that means it needs 6, so it needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means the address of the next par has to be the next available channel, which would be 7. It can stay in 4 channel mode. It can still be a 4 channel light, but the address has to change. So we do setup, that's the Dmx channel. We have to bump that to 7 now, because this is in 6 channel mode. That's why you just watch the video again, rewind, whatever you gotta do. This is in 6 channel mode. So it needs 6 channels to function in that mode. You start off the address at 1 just because you start off at 1. But the next par, the next fixture, it could be a strobe light, it could be one of the follow spots. But something has to come after that 6. It can't come inside. It really shouldn't come inside. So you would use 7. Now let's expand further. Let's say we want this light to just be a 1 channel light. If we do a 1 channel light, we just go into setup, or we go into channel, and we bump that down. After you bump that down, it's in 1 channel mode, so it's only going to use that 1 channel. And that means that the next available channel is 8. So this one is 6, this one is 1. So you've got 7 right off the bat. And like we said in the book, each channel mode has different functions. So one of the parts is in 1 channel mode. This is all it can do on that 1 channel. The other one is in 6. So these are all the things you can do in the 6 channel mode. Alright, let's run that again. So let's say I want this one to be, my bad, go to channel. I want it to be maxed, 8 channel mode. This one's still at 6, this one's at 8. So for addressing, this starts at 1, this starts at 7. At 7, so we start at 7 and we move 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the next available channel would be 15. As you can see, this channel is this controller is limited. We can't expand past 16. We don't have any kind of page button or anything, because most modern controllers, they have the ability where you press a button and it actually flips the same set of faders, and it flips into a new set, an empty set of faders. So you could have these 8, and then let's pretend this says page, and when you press page, this becomes 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You press page a 3rd time, 17, 17, 18, 19, 20, blah, 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 blah. You can do that with a lot of the modern controls. We are stuck at where we are, 16. So when you're addressing, that's why like this can't do 512 channels. It can't hold the entire universe. Some controllers can. The bigger the console, the more likely it can control all 512. So let's walk through it again. Let's just walk through it again, right? The channel determines the address that you use. So it's basically coming down to math. You do whatever channel mode you want to do, and always remember the next available slot is where you start your next address. And like I said earlier, the Freedom Par has a 10 channel mode. So you would put that on 10, and then the next one would be at 11. Now here's the thing. Now you notice we have 4 pars doing the same thing, 4 pars doing the other thing. You can match up the lights to be the same exact setting. But if you want to alternate like what we did, you have to be able to address one and address the other differently, while at the same time keeping things compact within your controller that you're using. Okay? So if both of your lights are on 7 channel mode, your first par is going to start on Dmx address 1. Your second par is going to start, or your second address. It could be any kind of fixture. It doesn't matter the fixture. No matter what fixture you're using next, that's a good point. No matter what fixture you're using next, it could be any of these. It could be the file spot next, the strobe, the par, a flame, whatever. The next available channel is where you start addressing it. It doesn't matter what mode it's in. That doesn't matter. When you're addressing it based off of what you did before. So you can look at it like this too. Dmx channel, Dmx channel, Dmx channel. That's the order of how you program the stuff. So first you put it on channel 1, Dmx address 1, right? Then you pick your channel mode. Then you pick your Dmx address based off of the channel. Dmx is set, then you adjust the channel you want for this. It doesn't matter what channel this is on. It's not going to affect this. But when you set the channel, the third fixture or the third address needs to be addressed now. Whatever that is, whatever number that is based off of the channel that you use for this. And like I said, you can have 6 over here, and this could be a 1. This could be theoretically a fixture. You know, there's some fixtures that there's a 32 mode. So you would have to do 32. And then the next one with the address would be 33, because you're taking up 32 available channels. Okay. All right, guys. I hope this is good. If I need to make another video, I will. If you have any questions, make sure you ask me. But keep watching this video. Just watch it. All right. Because this is really like the hardest part about lighting, controlling lights, dealing with the addresses and the channels. So if you can master this, you're really going to be able to do a lot with lighting in the future. But if you don't know what this is, you can forget it. You can forget about any kind of career in lighting or whatever if you don't understand this crucial element and how addressing works. You know, so one day I could have all 8 pars up here. This controls par 1, par 2, par 3. Each one is 1 channel mode. I could do it like that. I could do each one 2-channel mode. And so there's different combinations. And that's why I was able to do what I did for International Day. So for International Day, this was address 1. This was address 5. This was 9. And these were on 13. I had to change the addresses based off of the channels and based off of how I want to split the lighting itself. So I want to have basically four fixtures. And in a lot of the modern controllers that are small, there's what they call the fixture button. And the fixture button is basically for that particular address that you may have selected for whatever fixtures you're using. So like I said, let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to have you guys do these pars, program these pars at some point. I have to figure out how I'm actually going to do that. Obviously can't do it during service, but you know, we'll figure something out. You have to know how to do this. This is an extremely crucial part of lighting and how it's done in all levels. And if you want to be able to control bigger consoles and things like that, and multiple universes, so we're talking about not 512, but 1024, or whatever the double is of that. You know, that's a lot of channels. There's a lot of different combinations, and so you got to be ready for that. You got to be ready for that if you want to. If you want to go far. All right. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I guess it's not that important at this time. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Anything could be connected to anything. Let me explain. I can use the Dmx cable from here, the follow spot. If I wanted to, I could take this and I could plug it into the fixture, okay? And when I do that, that doesn't mean that anything gets out of order. You can connect, I should say. Any fixture, anything that could be connected by Dmx can be connected into each other. It's not going to affect how they operate. Just set your channels and your addresses. You can have one of the pars, one of the strobes, and one of the follow spots, and control them all from the same controller. It can be done. It's been done. There's usually not a separate controller for each type of fixture, unless your controller is really, really small. But the bigger your controller, the more you can control on that one controller. So that's another important point that I felt I should address, just in case you were wondering about that. Which is why channeling and addressing becomes even more important. But that might be for another video, because it's actually a really complicated scenario how that works out. If you address everything the same way, that does turn into something radical. So like I said, just let me know if you have any questions, and keep reading, keep watching this video. Watch it a couple more times if this is your first time. Just watch it until you feel like you can do it. If you don't like this video, find another video on YouTube that you think will help you understand it more. Read articles. Learn how to do this. Because in the lighting world, this is really 101. But this is it can be complicated if you don't know what you're doing. Okay? Alright, keep shining.